Welcome back to My Block Jags. I am Danilo Scurry. And it's been a while since I made a video. I want to say probably almost 2 weeks since I made my last video. As far as things going in the NFL, it's kind of slow. Everything with COVID and all that, they kind of cancel all the little mini camps and they having all these Zoom meetings, so they're not doing the players are not coming inside the facilities, players and coaches. So it's a lot of little slow as far as football going on. It's same with the Jaguars and all around the league. So the news on that has been kind of slow. No real transactions. Nothing really going on with the players. But recently we had something that kind of shocked America. We had George Floyd in Minnesota, who tragically was killed by a police officer, and it rocked the nation. I mean, 50 states, protests all over the nation, every state. Almost every major city, even the small cities, even turned out to protest because we seen it on video and it was wrong. The cop put his knee on his neck and restricted him from breathing, and he ended up dying. He sat on his neck for 8 minutes and 42 seconds, and even afterwards, I think another 2 minutes after his last breath or his last words, even after he was dead, he was still on his neck. So it was overkill, and I believe that's the reason why so much of America is speaking out against it. I mean, you have a lot of pro athletes, you have a lot of actors, you have a little bit of everyone, politicians, everyone is speaking, even police officers are speaking out about it. And it's kind of, I mean, it's a sensitive subject, but I mean, racial tensions has been high in the past like few years, and I don't know if this is the boiling point. Is this the peak, especially with police brutality? But a lot of people are coming out and they're speaking up, and they're letting everyone know how they feel. They're letting everyone know, the police officers, you can't do this. I mean, you're elected officials. You work for the community. You're not here to terrorize the community, kill the community, abuse the community. And that's what we're constantly seeing on video, especially when it comes to black people. So you have all these protests, all these athletes speaking out, all these athletes even showing up to protest to walk and march. You have rioters, you have people out there rioting, and it's a few. I mean, just like how the cops they love to use this phrase. It's a few bad apples. It's a few bad apples, and out here in these protests doing rioting and stealing and doing all this crazy shit. So I wouldn't try to put the blame on every protest as they're out here wilding out, rioting, breaking shit, trying to steal shit. You know what I'm saying? Just being criminal. So and even the ones that they're hurt. They're tired of seeing this. You had the peaceful protests. That didn't help. We got killings going on camera. That didn't help. You have everything possible for people to speak. Nothing helped. So if rioting gets people's attention, even though it's wrong, but if it gets people's attention and now they're looking at it saying, hey, this is wrong, then it is what it is. I don't really care about a couple windows compared to someone's life. Lees and Kates can replace those windows. You can't replace someone's life. So it is what it is. But as far as the NFL, a lot of athletes spoke out. A lot of just NBA everywhere. A lot of athletes spoke out. But Drew Bress, he's a quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, and a lot of people look at Drew Bress as a leader outside of New Orleans because of what he does in the community. He's all like you always see him out in the community doing good work. Everyone in New Orleans love him. He came there after Katrina. They won the Super Bowl. The city of New Orleans loves Drew Bress, and even outside of New Orleans loves Drew Bress. And he's a great quarterback. Great quarterback. Can't no one ever take that away from him. But he said a question was asked to him, looking at what's going on now, would you have an issue with, I'm paraphrasing this because I don't know word for word exactly what was said, but would he have an issue if players still kneel during the anthem? And his response was he will always take kneeling during the anthem as disrespect because his grandfather fought the military. And he dropped the ball. It's like, damn, Brees, like, you, out of all people, say this, as much as you do with the community, as much as you lead, as much as the nation looks at what you do and everybody commends you on what you do and everyone looks up to you for what you do in that community in New Orleans, and everyone looks at Drew Brees as a leader, and just by him, he's always on. Even he, on Tuesday, did the blacked out thing for against police brutality and Black Lives Matter. He did that on his Instagram, and he locked arm in arm with his teammates, and everyone always thought Drew Brees got it. Everyone always thought Drew Brees was the one who understands. Drew Brees is the one out of all the quarterbacks, he understands. He gets it. He talks to players in the locker room. There's many players in the locker room he spoke to, and everyone just always looked at not Drew Brees. Out of all players, not Drew Brees. But he said he still sees that as disrespect, and he brought the military into it. And then again, I don't know how many times this has to be said or reiterated, but it was never about the military. Never about the military. The whole military thing came from one reporter asked Kaepernick when he first took his protest, asked him about the military. One reporter asked him that, and then that's when the media ran with the whole military thing. But then a Green Beret told him, "Don't sit on the bench, take a knee, because that shows more respect." And so he started taking a knee. And then you start seeing other players do it. But even after talking multiple times, multiple players speaking, Kaepernick speaking, everyone speaking about it, the peaceful protest on taking a knee you didn't like. So now, the same thing Kaepernick was protesting for was police brutality and police killing of unarmed black people. We still seeing it 4 years later on camera. And we're seeing overkill. Overkill. This man sat on George Floyd's neck for 2 minutes after he died. So we're seeing overkill. And still nothing's happened. We're still dealing with the same shit. I mean, come on, from the 50s to the 60s, I can start naming them. I can go off everyone's, just keep naming. We're still dealing with the same shit. And people look at Drew Brees to like, we would think you will understand. And for you to bring the military in it, it's like, dog, like, what can we do for us to get you guys to understand this? It's killing me. I really don't get it. I really don't understand Drew Brees. So he said that it's always going to be disrespect. So you had players on his team. Manuel Sanders called him ignorant. He just got signed to them, receiver. Mike Thomas put a disgusting emoji. Who was, I think Alvin Kamara, he said something. LeBron James came out. Players all over, NBA, NFL, sports analysts, everyone came out and spoke out against, because we just like, Brees, you still don't get it. And I feel like he does get it, but that's how he truly feels. That's his opinion. That's how he truly feels. He's always going to hold that stance. He was never going to not hold that stance. He always was going to hold that stance. And I feel like, that's where he always will. That's where he always was during all this community work he does, during all this talks and stuff that he does. I feel like he always does that. Me personally, I think people who, I'm more of this. I feel like some people, they do good deeds, but in the back of their mind, they still have a certain perception. They still have an opinion on it, but they feel like their good deeds will shadow over how they honestly feel. And I feel like that's what Brees did. I mean, you seen it, we seen it, the whole nation seen it, and the whole nation, they understand exactly what was the initial reason for the protest, because we're still seeing it to this day. And now they're rioting, and you don't like the riots and the protest, you don't like the marches, but you had an issue with a silent protest on the sideline. So Brees said his opinion. He put out an apology saying he didn't mean, he didn't know his words were gonna hurt so many people. Blah, 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 bullshit. I feel like it's straight bullshit, because that's how you felt. You could have kept that. Bro, you could have kept that. You, your PR team, your manager, y'all could have kept that. That's how you felt, dog. If that's how you feel, shit, keep it. You know what I'm saying? Say no. I mean, if anything, double down. You know what I'm saying? That's how you felt, dog. You know what I'm saying? Don't come back and apologize. Nah. I mean, you knew what you was doing, you knew what you said, and you knew your heart and intentions behind when you said what you said. So now I don't come back and apologize. So I didn't mean to hurt people's feelings, and I recognize and I see, nah, bro, you been knew this. You been knew this. One thing that I do know during the 2011 lockout, Brees was the one out of all the teams. Brees and the Saints. Brees was the one organizing off-season workouts with his team, not with the NFL, not with the coaching staff. Brees was the one organizing off-season workouts with his team. They all set up. He organized where they all met at one place, went over their playbook, all that good stuff. And I want to say he was doing something with the NFLPA. Something was going. I know he was doing something, and I know the question was, do you see politics after football, life after football? And he said he can see himself running for some type of office after football. And I feel like this what that statement was saying. This statement right here was him drawing the line in the sand because he only has like 2 years left. I feel like this statement was him saying to his base, hey, now when I'm done and I start running for politics, remember my thoughts on the protest. I'm going to say it now because I only got a couple years left, but remember my thoughts on this protest. So when it comes back up with me running, you can always go back and say, well, this is how Drew Bress felt. And he always felt like this. And I really feel like that's what that statement was. He knows the end. He's towards the tail end of his career. And I feel like he's now now he's thinking about life after football. And I feel like that's what that statement was. It was a political statement. So that way, when this ever comes up in his political run, they can always go back to it. And that's what I honestly feel. But it's like, I can't say he don't get it because he does, but it hurts to see someone like Brees because honestly I feel like he's fake. I honestly feel like Brees is fake. And it hurts to see somebody of his caliber who's always made it seem like he was standing on the side of good. He always portrayed himself to stand on the side of good and the side of the people. But through all this shit, he always felt what he felt. It was all lip service. It was all fake. And that's how I feel. Even with the apology, even with him coming out and apologizing, I feel like that was just another layer, to add to it. To me, he just seems fake. He's just another football player. Once he's done, he's on with his political life, and all this shit is just gonna be behind him. So you have a lot of players that spoke out against him, and now it's gonna be when the season starts, how that locker room is gonna be. Because like I said, multiple people thought Brees was for the people. We all thought Brees understood the black man's plight. We all thought that Brees was one of the guys who got it, and obviously he doesn't. So when the season starts, training camp starts, it's gonna be interesting to see how that locker room is. It's going to be interesting to see how all 32 teams, how their locker room is, because you have multiple individuals with different personalities, and these conversations come up in the locker room. You have multiple different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different what's the word I'm looking for? Different social statuses coming up. So I would love to see, or love to be a fly on the wall on any of these locker rooms, just to hear the conversation for the ones who don't get it, or the ones who say they don't get it, and just to hear the conversations going on. Because a lot of times, if you don't get it, you need someone. You don't need. Well, yeah, you do. You need someone to show you and help you understand. So I would love to be a fly on the wall on any of these 32 locker rooms to hear what the conversation is and see how they feel about everything. Outside of that, we don't really have too much Jaguar news. So I'm just gonna end it right here. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Also hit me up on Twitter, ThatBoyScurry, ThatBoyScurry. Until then.